Fighters back in town, fighters back in town. There ain't fish safe for miles and miles around. Providers back in town, providers back in town. There's no needs upon yourself. Providers back in town. Came home and looked. Benny looked so skinny, and holding on his left hand was his missus. She was a pity. Benny said his hook too shallow and the fish weren't plenty. Providers staying home, put away your pennies. Providers back in town, providers back in town. There ain't moose safe for miles and miles around. Providers back in town, providers back in town. Put away those rabbit snares. Providers back in town.
When you're in the camera? Well, you know, it's a nice spot. We did really good last year. Off the point here, you can see the point. I did some calling there in the evening. And in the morning, we got up and, of course, right away, I had to have my bacon and eggs and 6 o'clock in the morning and my fresh coffee. I gotta have my coffee. While I'm having my coffee, sometimes I come out and I do a couple, just nice and, really good ones, eh? And the more we got up there, and for some reason, I didn't bring the gun. I think what it was is the coffee was boiling over, so I came running out. I turned up there with a nice big bull running right off that island there, just in the back there, running fast. Well, when I time I got my gun to shoot him, Because by this point, see that other point right here by the tree there? That's a big and little P point. Anyway, that moose, I could see him running there, and I didn't have time to shoot him, so I used the other point for a ricochet shot. Boom! Nice ricochet. Right off that point, like that. Killed that moose over here. I knew where he was. Like, I'm a good pool player, so I know my angles. So, kind of a bank shot, eh? And you know what? And that's the way it is. When you want to get your moose and you're out in the wild, you know, finish your coffee. Don't let it spill over. The moose is there. If you got to take a bank shot, then bank your shot. Good friend of mine, Mr. Mike. Mike, I think Mike, you had to add to that story because you were there at the time. We were camping.
You know, I never play Hank for beer in the bar when we play pool because I can't afford for him and us both to drink at once. So when I knew that he said, "Well, Mike, I need to take the bank shot there," and he started lining up, I knew that moose had it. And it was funny there. You got him. It was one shot. You got him right behind the ear there. You know, and
the thing is, it was right behind the ear, and I kind of felt bad because I wanted to shoot it right up the neck. That way, we wouldn't have to cut the neck bone. Just cut it straight off, eh? But But anyways, we had worked for it.
Yeah.
And Mike,
other than moose, there was no other animals harmed in the making of this film. And stay tuned for our next edition of the Métis Fishing Show.
And we also got a guest, somebody from the Flatlands, and Mr. Hammer. I worked with him for a while there, and we got him out. He's a big time show.
Thanks, Hank. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it was a good time, you know. And I heard like worldwide about your bank shot, eh? I said I got to see this for myself. And I said, well, I'll leave the prairies, eh? And I'll come from Minnesota up here hunting with Hank, like the provider. And you got all kinds of names, don't you, Hank? And, you know, he's just well known all over the place. But anyway, so I decided, well, you know, I wasn't doing nothing else, you know, and I worked. And I said, I'm sick of working, you know. So I decided to come hunting with my good old friend Hank. How you doing, Hank? Yeah. And I'm glad he asked me along, and it's been good. But when I see that type, you know, I don't normally believe stories like that. But when Hank tells them they're all true stories, so I kind of gotta believe in my buddy Hank because he's never led me astray before. But anyways, thanks again, Hank, for having me, and it's been a blast. And it's still early yet, and we're still looking for the bank shot. Thank you very much.
Bank shot Hank, the provider. Well, how many moves so far?
Haven't seen nothing, but still early yet. Yeah.
Oh yeah, look at that one. Oh yeah, she knows what she's looking for. She knows what she wants when she wants it. That's what's fun. Well, last night we did some calling last night, and about 5 o'clock in the morning, we had 2 boats coming. Unfortunately, it was kind of windy out, so we didn't quite bring them all the way up out to here. But well, maybe tonight it might be a different story. See what happens. We're gonna go do a little bit of fishing here. We've done a boiled soup here. Well cooked, very good soup. So hopefully we'll be happening here. Talk to you later on the trail. Bye. There we go. Well, a lot of good fishing is happening right now. We got a little bit of rain. It's not major bad. The missus has been pulling them out pretty good. We've got a few here. We let go probably about 30, 40 fish already. You know, some they're a little too smaller. I mean, they're good tasting that, but a lot of times we'll bring in a few. You know, like lots of times we'll grab the line. You'll notice a little bit of a drag on that guy. That's a nice one. Yes, that's a nice one. Yeah. That's a nice fish. Well, we're gonna bring him in here a little closer. Yeah. Let's go look and see what we got here. All right. You can see we got a nice little walleye. Yeah, a little. Well, you gotta take him on this line here. Oh well. We'll fix him up later. Let's get the lines back in the water here. And put this on the slinger. But you know, there's what do you call good fishing? It's a lot of ugly weather we went through to get here. But you know, it's worth it. It's worth it when you can come across fish like this. You know, this is my favorite little lake here. If I'm not at home, I'll probably be out here. I got lots of cleaning to do, but you know, lots of people back home, they call me provider, and I kind of got to live up to the reputation. And well, it's a lot of work. Fishing is nice, but having to go clean all them fish after the end of the fishing trip, it is a lot of work. We went through 2 licenses now, 2 treaty card licenses, that is. But we're going to show you some really good fishing. What I'm going to do is bait my hook here, and we're going to show you some more good fishing here. Yes. So we're going to put it back down here, and we'll see where it's at. Well, we know where it's at anyways. Provider's in town, so we shouldn't have no problems with having to feed 300-400 people. No problems like that. It's just the way it is, you know. Another thing okay, this is what we got right now with Cheryl's line. We have something called a floater jig, and what it does is it floats up. We've got a weight on it here, and what it does, this thing will float up like this, causing the fish, when they're delicate taking it, they'll grab it. They'll suck it right in, they'll grab it. So these floater jigs, they do work. We're just trying them out right now. I just say, well, since we're out here, might give it a shot. We've been cutting back on minnows. Look at that, see? See what I'm saying? Working from the bottom. And I'm not even going to use the net. I'm just going to bring him in because if he gets off, it's no big deal. It's no big deal if he gets off. I mean, provider, got a lot. You know, it's just one short meal for 1 or 2 people, which is no big deal because tomorrow I'll feed him a little better. Anyways, we'll take this hook off. Come on, baby. You notice that? I don't know why these pair of hooks. We got no prongs on them, but yet they're still hard to take off. I guess because when a provider provides, he provides. When you do take your minnow, look at it and inspect it. Make sure it's not a rotten minnow. Inspect it. Make sure it's got a nice thing. Don't rub it too much. You want all that rough stuff there, the white stuff to stay on the minnow. You want to try to keep all that. That's where you get your best action. Like I said, through the eyeballs, and where it changes color is kind of like the backbone. You want to keep your minnow under solid. But anyway, let's see what we got down here. Well, you know, I think what, 2:30, that's when all the pickerel are just going nuts. Mike was pulling them out faster than I can clean them, but good thing we didn't clean them. All we did was, you know, we took enough for a good meal. Mike was very successful. And Mike, I really want to thank you for your comments there. I always tell people how you pull the fish in, and we got the knowledge of how it was.
Well, I must say it started right from the hook, right down to how you're setting the hook. It was just it's good technique, it's discipline, and it's overcoming all the parts where you don't catch fish and you catch fish, and that's what it's all about, is catching the fish.
Okay, Mike, how did you become catching the fish? I mean, like, I think a lot of times when you did a lot of technique, you know, I'm not going to criticize you. I'm not thinking about criticism, but I'm telling you, you know, like now that you've seen some of the videos that you know I released, I want to know how your opinion is, because I noticed you're doing nothing but pulling in fish now.
Well, I must say, after watching Volume 1, I was really inspired to my technique and how I would just pull,
Like
you
you
know,
started a minute ago.
but not overhand, because I don't want the line to get tangled, right? And then when Volume 2 came out, it was like the topping on the cake, where I where I had the fish to the top of the water. I knew what to do with it, and you know, and right down to the lures that I would use and the spots that I would pick because of Volume 1 and Volume 2. It was really it was a combined effort of both volumes to bring me to where I am today.
You know what? So, Mike, for people like you, I know you don't need help. I know that. I've seen even before you came into my presence, and you know how you jump on me. I'm not gonna say how you praise me. That's just too deep. I'm saying how that you know you became friends with us, and how I was able to do better your fishing. You know what? Thank you. You know what? Thank you a lot. Thank you. A guy your size, and I know you've been guiding and know a lot of that stuff, and to me, to help you out, and now you are a better man. I know that, right?
I am a better man. I catch more fish. I come home with a better attitude, and I go out with a better attitude. And those are the three things that I need to succeed.
You know, and you know what? That's what we want. You know what? We want the public's input of how that we did something. I'm not going to say that we. I'm probably being a little modest by saying we. I did something. I created a monster of mastering. And tell us about that big pickerel you pulled out today with that lure I told you. Try that lure, Mike. You know, they were during
Yeah.
dancing.
Because I live in the same community as Hank, I feel that I've got an advantage over all the other people that have gone to the seminars, because Hank lives down the street from me, and he told me today, the sky is clear and there's so much ice left. You should try this lure, Mike. So I did. The first thing I did was I tied that lure on when I got here, and I casted it out, and I don't even think I got 2 words out, and bam, I had something. I thought it was just a small pike, but what it ended up to be was a 32-inch walleye. And it was something that, that's the second biggest fish I've ever caught in my life. And we did it on a day with no pressure. And that is something that sits very close to my heart.
Well,
I have the provider to thank you. Thank you, provider.
Well, you know what? I cannot take credit. Because I see this guy fish before. I even showed him Volume 1 and Volume 2, and he was on top of his game. I will not take credit for that. You know what, Mike? You are the man. You are, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are.
Provider's back in town. Provider's back in town. There ain't fish
A good hunting trip right now.
for miles and miles around. Provider's back in town.
You don't need a
Provider's back in town. There's no needs upon yourself. Provider's back in town. I came home skinny, and holding on his left hand was his missus. She was a pity. Benny said his hook too shallow and the fish weren't plenty.
Mike, what
Provider
did you get?
staying home, put away your pennies. Provider's back in town, provider's back in town. There ain't smooth safe for miles and miles around. Provider's back in town, provider's back in town. Put away those rabbit snares, provider's back in town. Provider's back in town, provider's back in town. There ain't smooth safe for miles and miles around. Provider's back in town, provider's back in town. Put away those rabbit snares, provider's back in town. There's no need to set your snares, provider's back in town. You catch any more flying squirrels or what? Yeah? Yeah, pull, oh yeah, you got a flying squirrel. Huh. I think you ran down with a nut though. Okay, oh. Yeah, you got her. Yeah, that's the way. Easy, don't fall in the water. Take that hook off the leader. Take the hook off and take it off the leader, and that way you'll go through the trees faster. You're not just catching with flying squirrels. You gotta use nuts on your hook. Peanuts, eh? Peanuts work? Peanuts, yeah. Actually, what do you call those things? Them spits. They'll work. You can try the pumpkin seeds.
Oh no, pumpkin seeds aren't allowed in the Olympics.
Oh, yeah, I guess you can't. So you gotta, yeah, you got enough wood to build a whole house. If not, enough to heat a whole house for a winter. You got lots of wood today. Yes, yeah, you did good. Yeah, that's the way. That's the way. Yeah, oh yeah, pull that freaking thing. Yeah, that's, yeah, you got him. Yeah, hold him.